already know, man. It's Deion Dawkins, and you listening to the Real Deal Sports Show on the Beat 105.5.
What's good? Good morning, Real Deal Sports family. The Fanatic is back in the building. Been traveling all across the country for the day job, so appreciate everybody's well wishes. They are near and dear to my heart, man. I appreciate that. But back in Baton Rouge, and talking sports of all sorts this morning, man. Shout out to the Rad, man. That dude don't never miss a show. But he's got to be out today, man. Had a little procedure, so hey, he's gonna be a-okay. He's as tough as they come. So no Rad Man today. So the Fanatic's gonna be holding it down. We got, of course, DJ BacSpin on the ones and twos. We got my man J-GILLZ. J-GILLZ gonna be coming in here momentarily. So hey, but we're gonna start it off talking sports of all sorts. Buffalo 10 will never be forgotten. We always love you. That is still, as the Radman would say, dastardly act. And all, no joking aside, what a crazy, just when you think about it, somebody drove hours just to come shoot up a local, predominantly black grocery store. How sick and hateful do you have to be? But we're going to make sure that we always uplift the Buffalo 10. We always dedicate the show to you. Hey, man, let's jump right into it. Man, the NCAA tournament is hot right now. Man, it's hotter than fish grease, man. We had some great games last night. We're going to talk with Chris Gardner. But my initial thought, man, Duke, the Blue Devils, when you least expected, here they come. Filipowski, Roach. They took down the number one Houston Cougars. So I can't wait to talk to Chris Gardner about that low-scoring affair. Duke won by 3. They move on to the Elite Eight down in good old Dallas, my area. But those boys from NC State, it's going to be an ACC regional final, Duke, NC State. There is no better player, not Edey, not Filipowski, not Johnson. The best player, man, that Burns, that number 30 Burns Jr. for NC State. Ooh, he an old school back to the basket, sweet little left hand. He reverse pivoting, going up and under, dipsy do for NC State. NC State, man, will horn at the guard position. Gotta love the tournament, man. People want to talk, well, who's going to be the pros? Who cares about who's going to the pros? Who's the best player that night, the best team that night? That's what the NCAA tournament is all about. And, man, the NCAA tournament is hot. And the Wolfpack of Raleigh, North Carolina, man, been to that campus. Man, NC State, they beat Marquette. It always reminds me, Shaka Smart got hair, man. And he's not at Texas anymore. Marquette, they just couldn't do it enough to get to stopping Burns Jr. Again, folks, watch the tournament, man. On the men's side, we're going to talk women as well. On the men's side, DJ Burns, best player in the tournament. I love the old school leaning on you. Leaning on you. Leaning. Oh, shimmy. Oh, then he go to that left hand, just flip it with a little kiss off the glass. Bill Rafferty going to be all over that when they play Duke on Sunday afternoon. Purdue, big Zach Edey, they did advance last night as well. That Purdue team, not really impressed, man. They're just all right. But Zach Edey, that's a big dude, and Gonzaga was wore out. They weren't tired. They was woed out by Purdue, man. And so Purdue moves on. And then Tennessee, the fighting Rick Barnes. Will this be the year with being such a talented squad? Can they make it through, and can they make it to an actual Final Four? Well, now they get their chance. Tonight's game, I think the best two teams, I know I just talked about NC State, they are playing the best. But I think the best two teams play tonight. Illinois is balling, man. Illinois, hey, they come at you. They ain't afraid of nobody. They going to put their hands on you. They going to go to the cup, and they going to shoot it for 3. Illinois at UConn, that to me is going to be Final Four level basketball, really in this Elite Eight to win the East Regional, to represent the East going to the Final Four coming up in Phoenix next weekend, man. Illinois and UConn play today. That's going to be a beautiful contrast of styles, but it's going to be a bit of a street fight, but it's going to have the beauty of some kiss off the glass, some shots that don't even hit the rim. Illinois and UConn, they play today, 6:09 Eastern Standard Time on TBS. That game is going to be a beautiful one. I'm taking Illinois plus 8.5. I think UConn will win it, But Illinois, beautiful brand. And I'm telling you, them some boys, they not afraid of UConn. UConn been balling. Hurley, got it, cool. Check all these boxes. Illinois ain't afraid. They coming out tonight and they gonna come hunting and they gonna make UConn gonna feel them. UConn gonna get bumped back a little bit. I'll be interested to see how UConn responds, but they're the heart of the champion. I think that once they get punched in the mouth by Illinois, they'll be ready to ball right with them. And then surprisingly, we got some football schools. We're not talking about football here when Clemson plays Alabama. We talking basketball. Shout out to our boy Nate Oates, OUB coach, now down there. Crazy. He went from a high school math teacher outside of Detroit, Romulus High School, to then becoming an assistant coach at the University of Buffalo, to now signing a recent extension. That man, one of the highest paid coaches in the country. But he's a good dude. I worked with him directly at the University of Buffalo. Good dude. Happy. Don't tell anybody that I'm happy for somebody at Alabama. But Alabama plays Clemson. I like Alabama in the matchup tonight. That's the 8:49 p.m. tip-off, man, as they represent the winner of the West region. So, hey, man, we got some great basketball going on. You know, I would be remiss. I got to talk my ladies hoops. LSU, Angel Reese, they trying to make us the bad guys. We still your same darlings. Don't let it fool you. We play today at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 to my time. Big game against the UCLA Bruins with the right, as I keep looking around, Caitlin Clark, man. Hey, does she practice anymore? Man, she got a million commercials these days, man. I do like the one with Juju Watkins and Joel Embiid. It is super dope to see the NBA and women's college basketball kind of pairing together and being these commercials. Man, I love it. So the women's side of the tournament, it's going to be a beautiful one today. South Carolina hung on yesterday. It was a big, big game. Indiana almost had them. Stanford, I was surprised with Tyra Vanderveer, the legendary coach out there at Stanford. They got pretty beat down. NC State is rolling. They got the men's and women's still alive in the tournament. Who would have thought that? Gotta love the tournament, man. Notre Dame couldn't get it done, but this is the big game today. LSU again at 1 o'clock against a tough UCLA opponent starting at 1 Eastern. And then Iowa plays at 3:30 right after us. And then Juju Watkins with USC, and they play Baylor, played after that. And then Duke and UConn. So these big perennial powers, LSU, Iowa, USC, UConn, all play today. Shout out to Diasia Fair. They tried it against UConn, but UConn still was UConn. So it's going to be some beautiful games going on today that lead into tomorrow's South Carolina game. They play tomorrow to kick off Eastern at 1 o'clock Eastern. South Carolina get ready to get it in tomorrow. So, but today, lots of great games, man. Really excited for the slate on the women's side. And then you get the real entree with that. Now, I'm telling you, everybody, if you like any sort of basketball, UConn or Illinois and UConn, that's going to be a beautiful game. Street fight, physical, but beautiful, tenacious, and really smart young men playing basketball. Check it out tonight. You won't miss it at all, man. And then check out the women's game again in order. LSU and my Lady Tigers. We got Iowa. Both teams win. We're going to get a rematch with the right to go ahead, as Travis Kelce would say, to party. Not exactly, not so fast, but LSU wins. Iowa wins. Rematch for the final of last year, and that will have the winner going to the Final Four. Then we got USC after that, after Iowa today, and then Paige Buckets and UConn, man. So much great basketball is upon us. Man, I got to bring in my brother, J-GILLZ. I know he's ready to come in here, talking sports of all sorts. But, man, it is going to be – this is a beautiful weekend. Spend time with your family early. Get it in. Get it in with them later on as well. Because, hey, they should be watching the basketball, men's and women's. Spend some good family time. So many great basketball games. The tournament is living up to what it always is. March Madness. There is no better singular event that continuously has games like this. It always delivers. You never know who's going to win. If you do, hey, man, win you a bracket, put some money on it. But, hey, we're speaking of money, I love Illinois +8 today against UConn. Check him out, man. But J-GILLZ, what up, my brother, man? How you feeling big time, baby? I miss you. You doing all right?
Hey, we got the fanatic. Yes, sir, man. Good morning to the Beat family. Yeah, man, this tournament is going down, especially today.
Ooh.
I can't wait for these games. You know what I mean? You got Caitlin Clark, a little bit of Angel Reese, a little bit of Caitlin Clark. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat that.
True. And then you got Juju right after that. Then you got Paige Buckets right after that, man.
That's a fact. You got the whole crew. You got the whole crew. You know, that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. This tournament, you know, a lot of these women about to make history, especially after Ice Cube and that huge announcement of the Big Three. Man, he is about to make these women's basketball players elite right now in this media game. And you know, we're just happy to hear it. Caitlin Clark, $5 million offer on the table. You just can't ask for anything more.
Yep. Hey, and this is just the beginning, man, because the women's game, it's just funny how the world works. Men's game, I'm a big proponent of freedom and mobility, but we kind of lost, like, wait a minute, who's on what team, who goes to where? Wait a minute. Can somebody please tell me, is my man Baycock out of North Carolina? That dude been there at least since I was in college 10 years ago. Is he eligible for another year? That dude, I know where he's been playing the last couple of years, but most guys you haven't. Now the women's game, and we didn't even talk about Michaela Williams, freshman sensation out of Bossier City, Louisiana for LSU. But we know the names: Juju Watkins, freshman out of USC, Hidalgo out of Notre Dame, Paige Buckets out of UConn, Caitlin Clark. Man, it's some great women's hoopers out here, man. And South Carolina got a whole team full of them, man. And Upstate doing enough. So it's a perfect storm women's game. Check it out. They're on the rise. Like you said, Ice Cube putting his money where his mouth is. I know Caitlin Clark said she's more focused on the Final Four or the Olympics, not necessarily the Big Three. But, hey, man, money talks, man, and hope that will provide opportunities for other young ladies to keep getting this bread as they move forward.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Well, I know we're getting ready to go to our first interview here, but just overall with the tournament, J-GILLZ, if there's anything that you said, the biggest surprise, the tournament is always full of surprises, either player, team, coach, environment. I don't know if people heard what happened with the young lady who had to stay out in Idaho because they were trying to play in the Spokane regional and had to deal with racist stuff. Man, can we just all get along? I wish I could say I'm surprised with that, especially in that part of the country. But shout out to Boise, Idaho. Been there, beautiful part of the country, and they show love. But J-GILLZ, the biggest either surprise, result, player, team, coach situation from men's or women's side of the tourney. Any thoughts?
Man, you know, when I thought those Houston Cougars were going to be able to just take it just a little bit further than what they did, you know, being the number one seed and everything out of the South. And the same thing with North Carolina, you know what I mean? I thought that those number one seeds was just going to go a little bit further. So for them to get knocked out in this round, man, it was to me, it was eye-opening. So kind of opens the door for UConn or Purdue to go ahead and take it. Or, you know, that's the matchup that we're probably going to see. But you just never know. And, of course, you know, in the women's side, it's all about Caitlin Clark for me. All eyes on Caitlin Clark. I want to see if she can get this gauntlet. I know she got the Boulders today, another phenomenal young team. You know, I think opened out their season beating LSU Tigers, if I'm not mistaken. You know, that's a young team who's able to actually, you know, get it done. So I'm very curious to see if she's going to be able, if Caitlin and the crew in Iowa will be able to, you know, conquer those Colorado Boulders. And then it's only better from there because then you got the Caitlin versus potentially Angel Reese and those ladies over there in LSU. Then you got the potential Caitlin versus Juju. You know, then you got the eventual Caitlin versus South Carolina. So I think everything starts tonight, well, really today, this afternoon, and I'm just excited to see if she can handle the gauntlet.
No doubt, because it is a gauntlet to be seen. But again, shout out to our girl from Syracuse, from Rochester, balling at Syracuse, Deasia Fair, man. Again, they tried to get past UConn, couldn't make it. But Deasia Fair moved into third place overall in Division I scoring on the women's side, man. So that is amazing. Shout out to her.
5 zone, man.
Yeah, come on now. Shout her out, man. Everybody talking about what's wrong with Rochester. Let's talk about what's right with the 585. And Deasia Fair is absolutely what's right with the 585.
And, of course, we got to shout out Jeff the ref. You know what I mean? Rochester's own.
Yeah.
Working that Duke Houston game, doing what he does.
Yeah.
Especially during this time of the season.
He know that travel call. He be quick to let it call that travel, man.
Always. Shout out to Jeff the ref, man. Doing what he loves to do. You know what I'm saying? Been doing it for a long time.
Yep, and graded at the job, man. He always get the big game and definitely is well deserved. So shout out Jeff the Ref. And it was interesting that Hidalgo from Notre Dame, they actually forced her to take her nose ring out during the game. So it's always some things we got to keep our eye on. What kind of why are we talking about this? Why is this being quote unquote an issue when young ladies been balling all year with nose rings? So interesting stuff, man. But the women's tournament is hot, just like the men's tournament it is. But we want to get more local, man. We want to talk to our man Joe Jackson, man, the head coach, high school coach of the year from Franklin High School. What's going on, Mr. Jackson Franklin? How you feeling, sir?
I'm pretty good. What about yourself this morning?
Come on, man. It's a beautiful day. We get to connect with you. We get to connect with royalty, the coach of the year, baby. So it's all good. The beard looking good. We're excited to have you. So talk to us overall. What led to your overall success for beautiful Franklin High School this year?
Well, I mean, it was a process. Just watching kids grow to become young men. No team just come out of nowhere and you got a bunch of studs on your team. My particular team, these guys came in. We took some losses, as sophomores, and then we turned it around as juniors and seniors. So getting them to buy into what we were preaching to them and giving them the blueprint to get to be an elite team was awesome. Just watching them grow from sophomores to seniors.
Beautiful. Coach, how is it, especially in today's day and age, how do you build that camaraderie with a modern day 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old when they got social media, they got their own brands to worry about. They not even, some of them I know they hooping on the high school team, but they worry about AAU. How do you what's the secret of building that camaraderie for the modern day young athlete?
Well, I think I was lucky, the group of guys that I had, they all kind of grew up with each other. They lived in the same area. They played in the same rec. So that made it a lot easier for me. With the AAU scene now, it's kind of crazy. You got a lot of elite players, that live everywhere, but they all kind of know each other. And, Rochester, with City Rocks and Ease Elite and those type of AAU teams, they bring those guys together after the season and just continuously work on their game and get them to where they need to be.
Absolutely. And, Coach, this is J-GILLZ. How you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. What's up, Jay?
Just asking, as we see right now in the league, so prevalently more than ever, the Rochester talent from the Isaiah Stewarts, the Thomas Bryants, Anthony Lambs, Nate Williams Jr., Jalen Pinkett, just so many great talents right here, born and bred from Rochester. What are you seeing as a coach from these youths that we haven't seen before, that are just excelling them into the pro level, the highest level that they can get to?
Well, I mean, the main thing right now is the transfer portal, but, on a lower level, I mean, these guys look around and see guys locally that's getting it done and taking different paths to get to the league. Look at Melvin Council, started out at Greece, UPrep, went to Monroe, and then ended up at Wagner, and he really made a name for himself. So, I mean, it's a lot different now, where it was so basic back in the day. Now it's different paths and you still can get there. So, it's all about how much work you want to put in as a player and a student. So, it depends on the individual.
Absolutely.
Definitely can understand that. Coach, talk to us about why do you think, because from us, if you would have let the Rad Man, the Fanatic, and J-GILLZ vote, you would have been the McDonald's Classic All-Star Game coach. Why do you think that you were snubbed for that? And just tell us, hey, man, this is your parking lot. This is your spot. How does that feel for not being able to be the head coach in that game?
Well, I mean, they choose who they choose. I mean, I can't knock it. I'm just glad to be able to be recognized as the other coaches in my sectional bracket as coach of the year. I mean, it's kind of wishy-washy with that the all-star games and stuff like that. So, I just kind of stay in my lane and excuse me, whatever accolades that can, come my way, I'm more than willing to accept them.
Got it. And then overall, just from your interpretation, don't get yourself in any trouble right now. Remind the audience for us on the macro level. How do they select the McDonald's All-Star Game players and then coaches? How is that voting go?
The coaches, each league get a certain amount of representatives as players. Like the city, we were allowed to select 3 players, which was Terrence Thompson, Davion Lipscomb, and Daquan McKinney. And I'm not sure about the other leagues, how many exact players they get per league, but it is by per league. And, the city was allowed to get 3 student athletes in there. As far as coaches, I'm not sure how that is decided on who coaches and who doesn't.
Coach, I just want to ask this too. Well, first, I just want to make a statement. I just want to thank you for your commitment to the students. I have we have a great relationship with a lot of these Section 5 coaches, from Coach Crouch over at UPrep, Coach Flea over at Wilson. Just doing great things. And when I look at, you don't have to get into this, but when I look at somebody like a Dr. Carmen Peluso, superintendent, want to up and leave, the city school district right after getting here, we got to commend you guys for sure for staying around and putting the kids in place and keeping them together. Do you guys have any groups or any networks or collaborations? Do you guys collaborate or network as coaches for these kids at all?
That's probably something that we need to build on as coaches within the city. I mean, I've been coaching in the city school district since about 2002. And we never really had a group. I mean, we all, excuse me, we all communicate with each other. We all, talk, and, we try to put kids in the best position that we can. But we don't have a group where we meet, 2 times or a month or anything like that. I mean, we all kind of busy doing our thing. A lot of us do coach different sports. I coach 3 sports myself: volleyball, basketball, and softball. So, it's continuous for me. But, we're year round. I mean, we got the summer league over at East High School. We kind of keep the kids busy with workouts and coming in and getting in the weight room and getting up shots and working on skill work, stuff like that. So, it's a process, and, I'm just glad to be part of it.
No doubt. Beautiful. Coach, talk to us. How, real talk, man. You sound like a man who never sleeps, man. So how do you get in for your life, to put in time for your life, your own life, and then pour into, like you said, the softball, the volleyball, and the basketball, while keeping the teams close and while also knowing that you got to strive to continue to get better? How do you handle and balance out all that?
Well, it's all about family with me. We try to create a family atmosphere. So if we got the girls in the gym, the boys can come in as well. It's just not like it's a section of sports. It's for me at Franklin. I work at Edison, but at Franklin it's more keeping the sports kids together and just trying to build that camaraderie so we can be successful going down the road.
And I did notice that as well. I see a lot more now, the coaches coaching different schools but not working there. How is that relationship, running into and possibly teaching even some of your opponents? How is that?
I mean, I'm the head of security at Edison, so I mean, I'm not a teacher, but
ruffling up them kids, getting them ISS right before the game, huh?
Right. I try. I try to chop it up a little bit with the guys that go to Edison, and I got a good relationship with all the kids there. But on game day, I get on their back, try to make sure they get in class on time and and talk a little junk at the same time in the hallway and passing. But I mean, it's been like that for me for a long time because I started coaching at Franklin, and then I moved to Edison, and it's like a seesaw for me, but I build good relationships with kids, and they kind of gravitate to me, and that makes it a whole lot easier for me.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Coach, what does it look like for you to continue to help Franklin's squad continue to elevate and be the best that it can be, ideally being the state powerhouse for all of Section 5?
Well, I mean, it's kind of tough, all right, because I lose 5 seniors this year. That's my whole starting 5. But I do got a nucleus of guys that's, upcoming. And, with the restructuring of the schools, kids going to be coming from somewhere else to Franklin. So we just want to keep it going. We don't want this to be just a one-time thing for Franklin, because Franklin always been a powerhouse. I graduated from Wilson. I played against Franklin back in the day. Franklin was one of the most feared teams in Rochester. They always put out, championship quality teams, great players coming out of there. Jermaine Bell, Carl Jefferson, Trent Neal, Terry Brinkley, Jeff Anderson, all those guys. I played against some of those guys, So, I mean, we want to, continue to keep this going, So any students that's transferring into Franklin, please get in touch with us. So we starting in the weight room pretty soon and work out. So, the door is open for us. We're just trying to continue to build this and keep Franklin as a powerhouse, in basketball.
No doubt. And I guess to that, you mentioned the challenge with that. I guess, how is that when you're a public school? But it sounds like, especially I've seen it toward the end of my high school career, where people kind of were getting recruited to go to different schools. How is that balance into you're working at Edison, but coaching at Franklin, coaching at 3 schools? How do you try and balance that with having all 5 starters going, knowing that you need to replenish, but then also say, hey, it's a public school, you open for everybody? How is that balance?
It's tough. It's tough. I was lucky to get the group that's leaving all at one time. But it was different back in the day when it was neighborhood schools. So you knew if kids lived around a certain school that they would be coming to that school. So now, we can't recruit, that's the law of the land supposedly. But we just try to, get the kids that's willing to learn and be committed to working hard and getting in the weight room and getting in the gym in the off season to get better. We're looking for those type of kids.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Man, much appreciated, Coach. And we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you. At right now, with at the high school level, at this collegiate level, what's your thoughts on the tournament and who you rooting for? Who you want to see make it to the top?
On the men's side, I'm leaning with Purdue.
Okay,
I like Purdue. And then on the women's side, I mean, you can't count Iowa out. I mean,
okay.
and I want to see an Iowa LSU matchup again.
There we go.
We'll see how that go, but
that's gonna be good.
I like LSU.
Oh wow! Okay, picking LSU to win it in Purdue. I love it.
Purdue.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Coach. We'll definitely, Coach. We appreciate you, man. And most important, we talked all about basketball today. But thank you for positively impacting young men's and women's life at such a critical time in their life during these high school years. So, Coach, you are the Coach of the Year, nationally known, regionally known. But man, you're an even better guy to be able to take up for all of these kids. Some kids who may not have played a minute on the court this year, but you're impacting their lives in all 3 of those sports positively. And I know there's more kids that you impact security-wise, so that kids can feel safe as they go to school each and every day. So, Coach Jackson, man, thank you so much for being here. This is your parking spot. You can always pull up here on the Real Deal Sports Show. So keep up. Best luck to success to all of your student athletes and just your students as they move on to look for bigger and better things post-high school. So thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you.
No doubt.
Have a good one.
Hey.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, man. Beautiful, man. That's the one and only Coach Joe Jackson Jr. coming in out of Franklin High School.
In the building.
In the building, man. And you know that was winners like winners. So it's funny how that works. That was brought to you by our girl Miriam Rivera, the award-winning Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Health, and Life Insurance. 1038 Lyle Avenue or 511 Bean Road. Pull up on her and the staff. They're in Suite B when you go over to the 511 Road, Bean Road location. Or just pick up the phone, give them a shout, 585-360-0094, 585-360-0094. Hey, also got to shout out Jack, Challenger Community News, the largest weekly African-American newspaper in the entire country. So big deal, man. 585-766-3590. You can send those articles over to the editor at thechallengernews.com. So we're here. You know, we live from the Rock Palm Broker Studio, getting it in. Now it's time to the man with the most beautiful mic. I always feel like it's the biggest mic in a computer screen, but it's the one and only, man. Chris Gardner time. Look, he showed up early, even after the Houston Cougars. He's still here, the legend. What's up, Mr. Chris Gardner? How you feeling, sir? Welcome to the Real Deal Sports Show.
Morning, fellas. How y'all doing today? It's a sad day in H-Town. It's a disappointing day for how things went down Friday night with the Cougs losing to Duke, 54-51. Everything changed when All-American point guard Jamal Shead rolled his ankle with 6 minutes left in the first half. But the Cougs had a chance. They had a chance to tie the game up in the final second, and the shot just fell short. And the hurt and the anguish that the team and the players feel is still real. It's still palatable. And to get this far and have it kind of, end that way with the All-American being helped off the floor, it's frustrating him. I've seen pictures before I joined you guys this morning of him in the locker room in tears and teammates consoling him. And it's just a tough way to go out on a season. But it's easy to say, but it's hard to deal with. That's part of life in basketball, man,
It really is. And so overall, Chris, as you break it down, and nobody breaks down basketball better than you, talk to us. Was it specifically the injury that was the overall downfall? And if you say yes, talk to us about how that affected how Coach Sampson ran his offense, how that affected the defense. If not, talk to us a different reason. But just what was that the main reason why, and if so, that the Houston Cougars lost, and if so, how did that change the normalcy of the Houston Cougars offense and defense?
When Jamal rolled his ankle on a drive to the hoop, Houston was up 16-10. They trailed at halftime 23-22. So Duke outscored them, 13-6 the last 6 minutes of the first half.
Oh, wow.
Jamal Shead was the team's best defensive player. Second half, without Jamal Shead, Duke's Jeremy Roach scored all 14 of his points. Jamal would have guarded him at some point second half. And Jeremy Roach would not have got those 14 points. But he did because Jamal wasn't there. Jamal Shead was an All-American. First-team All-American. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He was the head of the Cougars' snake on defense and offense. Coach said that, the halftime locker room was real quiet. The guys were distraught because they were without their leader, their guy. He was going to give it a go. And, some early reports, even the team's media person said that Jamal was going to give it a go. Even though he had a severely sprained right ankle, he's going to give it a go in the second half. See him on the bench wearing his warm-up jacket, no treatment. He wasn't going to play. He was not going to play. And as soon as I saw that first 2 minutes of the second half, I was like, he's not going to play. They're not even treating his ankle. They're not doing anything with him. He's just out there for support. So he was in tears after the game. His teammates were in tears because they had a chance this year. This team had a chance, but injuries derailed it and robbed this team of reaching its potential. And that's the biggest disappointment for the season. Even though they won 32 games, first year in the Big 12, new conference, won the regular season conference. So a lot of things still to be proud of going forward.
Absolutely, and obviously, Houston wasn't the only number one seed eliminated over this last couple of days, as well as UNC. North Carolina also getting eliminated. Not to say, my bracket there have Duke going all the way. I'm just saying,
Really?
I had Duke all the way. I was just something told me about it. But Chris, what's your thoughts in the remaining games of this tournament? Who can you see, as we get inching closer and closer to the Elite Eight, Final Four, and obviously championship game? Who do you see coming out on top?
I didn't do a bracket, but being asked and being invited to be on shows, which I appreciate always, I would have picked UConn to win it all. They got the best balance: offense, defense, inside, outside. You got guys who can beat you one-on-one, big men who can score, got depth at all positions. But I like them. But the beauty of and the curse of the tournament, only takes one. Only takes an injury to a key person, as Houston fans found out Friday night.
Yeah.
One team to get hot from three, or one team to just go cold from three. Like we've seen some teams experience these last few games. Going 1 for 17 from three or 2 for 17 like Arizona did, things like that. That's all part of the beauty of March Madness. But UConn, Illinois should be fast-paced, up and down action.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
But I'm still picking UConn to beat Illinois, advance to the Final Four, and then ultimately win their second straight championship back-to-back. And the folks got to give them credit.
Yeah.
If they do win it all,
that'd
be 6th championship in 26 years.
Yeah.
That's the most, fellas, right? Am I wrong? That's the most in the last 25 years is UConn.
Yep. And I want to jump right in on that, Chris. What do you think? Because that's with different coaches too.
Yeah.
And they're in the greater New England area. They're Storrs, Connecticut. So they get that Northeast talent. But man, you go from the Calhouns to Ollie's to now Hurley. What do you think it is about the program that has helped them amongst all these different players, not in a glamorous market? What has really helped propel UConn to continue to just dominate the men's game? When we talk about Roy Williams doing his dancing up at North Carolina, Coach K, Sirius Stern, Bill Self in Kansas, which, by the way, I would have slapped Bill Self. Bill Self was halfway through the year at the end of the game. Halfway through the end of the year, he was on the next year. Huh? How you a leader in men? And that's what you're saying out loud. Slap that dude, man, especially if you're trying to come to my mama's house and talk about recruiting me. But let's go back specifically talk about UConn, Coach. Chris, what do you think about the UConn in their program if they are able to do 6 and 26?
It's a great question, because honestly, I don't know why talented players want to go to Storrs. Yeah. It's not like it's in a huge metro area. It's not like it has a lot around it, but they get talented players. They won with 3 different head coaches for championships, got a great chance to repeat this year. Their program is established. The program is at home in the Big East. Their move to the American Athletic Conference, the talent level drained, the fan support diminished, but they love being in the Big East. That's where they feel like they belong.
Yes.
And they are, if you want to go in years, they might have been around long enough, but in terms of championships, they're a blue blood. They should be up there, considered with Duke, Carolina, and Kansas, because they have that championship pedigree.
Absolutely. And we talked about it a little earlier in the show, me and Fanatic. But, looking at this slew of women's games today, these high-name, big-ticket athletes dominating the men's tournament, by the way. It's looking like an NBA playoff first-round matchup, the way they got these games slewed up, cooked up for the day. Obviously, LSU versus UCLA. Then you got the Iowa versus Colorado. Then you got Baylor and USC. Then you got Duke, Connecticut to close us out. And just obviously so much star talent. What's your thoughts on the women's side, and where do you see this tournament going in that direction?
South Carolina has been tested.
Yeah, in the end of the day, them girls was throwing some elbows yesterday. Yeah. I like that.
But they survived in advance. It doesn't matter if it's by 1 point or 31. Survive in advance. But the matchups today, you got Juju Watkins from USC, Paige Beckers from UConn, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. The stars are in the women's game. The star players are in the women's game. We'll see if that changes in the future, because at some point, young ladies will be able to go pro early, go to WNBA. But at some point, right now, they've had a chance to build their brand, and people are learning who they are as they progress through college. The media is paying attention. The advertising is paying attention. The company is paying attention. That's all a benefit and a boost to the game as well. I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about my alma mater, Houston women's basketball, but that's another story for another time. But I'm looking forward to the matchups on the women's side as well.
Absolutely.
Hey, Chris,
real quick, Fanatic, because we can't stop. I know it's about the women's, but we can't. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about the huge offer from the big three. You know, Ice Cube offering Caitlin Clark that $5 million contract. What's your thoughts, Chris Gardner, on that?
I think it's great. It's great for her. It's great for the game. It's great because it's another sign to those haters out there. Well, who watches the women's game? Nobody cares about women's basketball. 5 million reasons to say somebody does.
5 million reasons.
Yeah. Legit. Hey, Chris, man, I feel like we only talk about it, and it's funny, you made me think about it, is we talk about it like you talk Houston Cougars women's basketball. Coach gets to stay through. Nobody says anything. Kelvin Sampson. Number one, do you think any job security issue with Kelvin Sampson at all?
No. The only thing is he's 68, I think. He's mentioned
good, man.
He's mentioned in previous years that he doesn't want to coach past 70. So we'll see if he sticks with that. We'll see if he's like some of the other older coaches who kind of don't like the NIL and how the game has changed in that way, that he may step down at 70 and give his son Kellen a chance because he is a head coach in waiting on staff.
Nice.
But at some point, and this is how he's built the program. At some point, the fans, Houston alum supporters will be like, Coach, man, we're going to the Sweet 16. We've been to the Elite Eight. We've been to a Final Four. But you haven't won a championship, Coach. You know, at that point is coming. So, and that's for the program because that might be Kellen Sampson's issue to deal with in the next 3 years. But that's how they've established a level of expectation of championship.
Yeah.
And now, are they going to be going that Gonzaga path? Or will they be that Virginia path? Virginia won one championship the last few years and have flamed out the other few years.
Been ugly.
But the fans can say, we got that one championship, though.
Yeah.
So, got to weigh your level of success for the program.
Yeah, and to me, that's always so interesting because with the expectations come the elevated levels of success, and sometimes it's the opposite where you start being successful. Now you kind of forget you're still the Houston Cougars. Yep. You still got to recruit against all these other great programs, Texas, LSU, Florida, Georgia, all in the South, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on. 32-5. We need to be celebrating that, but now folks want more. But we should be winning the national championship. It's like, all right. Similarly to Gonzaga, Houston Cougars is different. So, Chris, I wanted to go back to the women's game real quick because I know you're so astute. We always talk about it after the fact. I asked a question about Kelvin Sampson. We got some amazing coaches still left in the women's game. Gino Auriemma, of course, the legend. Nobody better than Dawn Staley killing it right now. She showed off her expertise. Hey, she's controversial. Man, ain't nobody more fiery and to me more gangster than Kim Mulkey. I ain't heard a peep from the Washington Post since she put them on notice yet. Then we, of course, got Iowa, USC. Coaching-wise, where do you give the advantage as right now these teams are the best of the best, so they're close in talent? But the elevated ones, the ones who will really help win, I think could be coaching. Where do you see as you kind of look at the overall sphere of coaching that can help these teams really get over the hump and really is what will be a really challenging rest of the way to win a women's NCAA tournament this year?
Great question. Because there are great coaches left on the women's side. I'm going to give the edge to Dawn Staley because she has figured out a way to get all of that talent, starting five, reserve the bench players to play as a team, to play as a unit. That's hard to do. Folks can say, well, she got the most talent. That also means she got a lot of egos to deal with every day in practice.
Yeah.
She also got to deal with that. Coach, how come I'm not playing? I mean, I'm blah, blah, blah. I was a 5-star too, coach. That's part of it. But then she does a good job of drawing up the right plays and having her players confidence in themselves to hit those clutch threes. So Dawn Staley has the edge slightly, but my goodness, there's a lot of great coaches on the women's side.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, I know we get ready to wrap it here, but just what has gotten the kind of lust off of Gino Auriemma, would you say? Because he was leading those teams that has been over the last 20 years. Again, going back to talk about the program that is UConn. Now UConn had on the men's side had all these different coaches, but for the women's side, it's been Gino. And he had the fresh Armani suits coming in, and him and Jay Wright were always the cleanest to me. Talking about, like, how do you see Gino in his coaching in the modern time for college athletes, and who would you rather pick in a game, Gino or Kim Mulkey?
Gino. But he hasn't won a championship in a while. When we talk about program excellence, it's been a while since he's won a championship, but probably every other program in women's game would take their drought of not winning, but they've been there. They've been he had a run of 11 or 12 straight trips to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Before that, the record was 4 in a row. Yep. He tripled that, but it's been a while since he won it all. And so some fans, he's getting up there in age. But like we talked about on the fella side, why for all these years does the cream of the crop want to go to UConn, want to go to stores? What's in stores? What's up there?
Yeah.
But more and more of the 5 stars are going to South Carolina, are going to USC. The talent spreading out, are going to LSU. So the talent level is spreading out as well, which is a benefit to the game overall, but it has impacted UConn winning championships. And they've dealt with injuries for the last 2-3 years as well. So that plays a part also in not winning a championship, cut down the nets, the final nets.
Got it.
Much appreciated, Chris. We know we'll probably be having you on next week. You'll be at the Final Four, possibly.
I'll be in Cleveland. Yes, sir.
Cleveland. It's going to be a good one.
Looking forward to it.
We'll catch you next week, and thanks so much for joining the show.
My pleasure always, fellas. Y'all take care.
No doubt. Safe travels, Chris, man. The best in the business, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, guys.
No doubt. Thank you. I always love Chris with the microphone with it too, man. Old school, just good with it, man. Love
good
that.
Reporter. It's some great black media across this country, and that's the one thing that the Real Deal Sports Show we are able to express that and show our city all the great black media all throughout this country that we have reporting that sports.
No doubt, no doubt. That's what we're here to do, and make sure that we give the best possible news, the best possible breakdowns from some different voices and some familiar voices. So, hey, J-GILLZ, man, we getting ready to wrap it up here, man. I just will say, man, that I'm so hyped for the tournament. We will talk NBA. The Lakers, they struggling right now. Steph Curry trying to lift.
Good. That's a one little blowout. Fanatic, one little blowout. They had a 5-game winner. 5-game winner.
Now against Indiana, you got to go handle that last night, man. Indiana ain't trying to play no defense, man. They just trying to get up and down. They glorified pickup team, and so for the Lakers, they only scored 90 points.
They're 6 seed. They're 6 seed.
Hey, man, shoot. Hey,
on the road, Fanatic on the road.
Yeah, I can see they can easily be right in that play-in game, and shoot, anything can happen. Especially they play them some young teams. But man, you know who's always interesting to me? The Clippers. I watched them, and I watched literally Philadelphia give the game away earlier this week. The Clippers, I look at them, they got a bunch of dudes who look the same. Kawhi, Norman Powell, PG. They all like the same size, and they all just kind of dribble the same way. They look the same way. They body mannerisms the same way. But they can get busy, man. It seemed like Ty Lue just wanted the same kind of cat. And that's where the Clippers to me could be the most dangerous in the West. Phoenix starting to get together. Man,
this is the year to do it, Fanatic, because it's looking like all signs are pointing to PG getting up out of there. So, they haven't got the money. They're far away in contract talks. You got a team like Philly that's ready to go and try and get a wing like PG. Pair him up with Maxey and Embiid, and they have the money to do it. And Daryl Morey loves to make those big moves. So it's all signs are pointing to if they don't get it right, if Ballmer don't pull out that checkbook, PG is up out of there, man. I believe he's going to be going to Philly.
Man, see, and that's what the NBA, you can see, potentially see his mind could, I'm not saying it is, but his mind could drift away during these playoff seasons. But, man, this is why I love the tournament, because it's about that one shining moment. This is the year. That's why I would have slapped Bill Self, because he was already talking halfway through. He was worried about next year. This is about this year, this moment. Because guess what? People graduate and move on, man. So it's crazy, man. But the NBA, we got so much going on. Baseball started. Yankees started out 2-0, baby. I like it. Let's keep it going. The Jets spending some money. What else is new? Hey, man, but we're going to have more draft talk coming up here.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. These receivers. Phenomenal receivers.
Hey, man, I want New England to get real aggressive, take Jaden Daniels, and jump back in front of Chicago and get Roma Dunze if he's still there early before Chicago pick again. Let's mortgage it up. Let's go. No, but another subject for a different day, man. Hey, but we're going to get ready to pass it on over to our man, the one and only, the award-winning, the guy who is all across the world. He might be in the Maldives this morning, for all we know, on a boat doing his thing, man. So we got to pass on over for the Back in Time mix, our one and only, the best of the best. That's what we do here, the elite. DJ BacSpin. What's up, BacSpin? What's happening, baby?
How y'all doing, man? What's going on, fellas?
Come on,
man. Hey, we got to shout out BacSpin and, of course, the home station, the Beat 105, for that phenomenal cipher. You know what I mean? That's going it's going nationwide. So we got to shout out BacSpin and the rest of the team. Radical Rashad.
Yeah, all the credit goes to Radical Rashad for putting that together, man. I was just blessed to be a part of it. And the fact that it's gone national is crazy to me. Like
crazy.
Yeah.
The Eclipse, baby. The Eclipse.
Yeah. Hey. Rochester doing big things, man. Big things.
That's how we do. Hey, we to us, we got all these players in the league. That's the best of the best. But we got DJ BacSpin on the ones and twos, especially on the Saturday. That's like having a Rochesterian in the league, man. So BacSpin, you doing it up, baby. We do it. Hey, we ain't gonna talk about the Cowboys. We're gonna talk Cowboys next week. We ain't gonna talk about winners.
What is there to talk about?
OBJ.
Come on, man.
Come on, nothing celebrated. We talk about winners and the best of the best. BacSpin, we appreciate you. We see, the Real Deal family. Make sure to like, subscribe us, YouTube, Facebook. Check us out. We love y'all. Love doing this, man. Radman, feel better soon. And we're gonna turn it over to BacSpin to get ready for
Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter, man.
No doubt. Real Deal Sports Show. Appreciate you guys, man. Fanatic, J-GILLZ. Get well soon, Radman. We here for you, my brother. Don't go nowhere, Rock City. We'll be right back. Got to pay these bills, but when we come back, it's coming back with Back in Time. Mix Show is on the way right here on the Big